In this video, I'm going to show you how to install and use SAS University Edition, or as I like to call it, free SAS. The first thing we have to do is create a SAS profile, basically an account at SAS. And you want to go to the web page for SAS On Demand for Academics and click on the orange button in the center that says Access Now. This will take you to the page that you see here, and you basically have three options. You can create your profile as either an independent learner, a student, or an instructor. I recommend independent learner. There are reasons why you might want to choose student or instructor, but I'll explain these later. For right now, think about independent learner. If you choose independent learner, you'll be taken to this screen, and there's a link at the top that says Registration Application. You should click on that link. Before I go to the next slide, I just want to point out that there's some links on this page that might be useful to you, some videos, also some quick start documents. They're right there below the registration application link. Once you click on the registration application, it will take you to this page where you create an account. So it's going to ask for your first name, your last name, and an email address, and then you select your country and click the orange button that says Create an Account. Once you click the orange button, you will shortly receive an email that provides you with a link. If you notice at the top of the email it says, please activate your SAS profile to join SAS On Demand for Academics. This link is there in the center of the email. Just click on it. It returns us back to the screen where we set up our registration information, and now we're going to click on the orange button, and when we do, it's going to give us a screen that shows our user ID. On that page, you'll also see a small link that says sign in to the SAS Control Center. Also, if you return to the SAS products page, at the right-hand side, you'll see a link that says SAS On Demand for Academics Control Center. You can click on this link and it will take you to the Control Center sign-in page. At some point in this process, you'll establish a password. Once you have that, you'll log in to SAS using your user ID and your password. Click the blue button to sign in, and that's all it takes. Now you're in. I said I would mention the instructor and the student options. The instructor option is one that allows you to upload course data and also invite students to participate in your course. For our purposes, we're headed to SAS University Edition, so we're not really interested in that here. The student option is really a companion to the instructor option. So if an instructor sets up a course and you enroll in that course, the instructor is going to send you a link that allows you to establish an ID and get in the course. We're not interested in doing that. We simply needed to establish a SAS account, and we've done that as an independent learner. I think SAS On Demand is really terrific, and I'm going to be using it in my undergraduate class for SAS Lab. However, in some of my other work where I'm using really large data sets, it's not as useful to me. It won't allow you to read data files stored on your own computer. You have to upload data files to the SAS server. SAS On Demand will only accept SAS data sets, and there's a limitation to the size of the data sets that may be uploaded. The individual data sets that you upload may be up to 10 megabytes in size. The data files that you upload to SAS may total 2 gigabytes in size. However, no individual data set may be over 10 megabytes in size, so that's a limitation if you want to work with larger data sets. So here are the advantages of SAS University Edition. It reads data files that are stored on your computer hard drive, not on the SAS On Demand server. And so there's not a limitation to the size of the data files that SAS University Edition will analyze. At least there's no limit that I know of. The first data file that I used on the University Edition was 1.4 gigs, and it was no problem, handled it just fine. As with SAS that you might be using on your own computer, the SAS University Edition will read in a variety of data file formats, including Excel, comma delimited text, and so forth. There may be some limitations on this particular part of the system, but I'm not sure of that, so you'd want to check. Now that everybody's convinced that you really need SAS University Edition, go to this URL and it will take you to a screen that has a blue button on it that says Download Free Software. Click on that button. Clicking this blue button takes us to the screen you see here, and we're going to begin a 3-step process to download SAS University Edition. The first step says verify that you have a compatible virtualization software package. And as you can see here, your options are to have such a package for Windows, for OS X, or Linux, whichever operating system you have. Click on the appropriate link. Clicking on the link in step 1 is going to lead you through the process of downloading the correct virtualization package. Step 2 says get the Quick Start Guide PDF or video for your virtualization software package. So if you downloaded the Windows version or the OS X version, they've got a video and a Quick Start guide that teaches you how to install them and use them. I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but you should get those. They actually do want you to read them, as you can see here. They're useful. You should do it. Step 3 is to download the actual SAS University Edition software itself to your computer. Most people are going to click the top button that says Get Download. That top button is for VMware Player or VMware Fusion. If you have OS X, Windows, or Linux, you downloaded one of those virtual machines, so that's probably the button you're going to want to click. I think if you have Oracle, you're going to click the bottom blue button. When you click on that button, it's going to take you to a page that looks like an invoice. It is an invoice, but the charge for this product is $0, as you'll see over and over again. At any rate, confirm your order. You'll be sent an email that looks like this. It'll contain the download link that you see there, and just click on it, and that will take you through the download of the SAS University Edition software. And once again, in the email confirmation that you get, you will see that you are not being charged any money for this. So now we've downloaded SAS University Edition Basic App and the Virtual Machine Player, and we want to install those to our computer so they can function. We're going to start with the Virtual Machine Player, and I'm just showing you that my program is here in my download folder. Installing the virtual machine is really not a big deal. Just click on it and it'll bring up a wizard and just follow the instructions from the desktop. Once you've followed the installation wizard and installed VMware Player, then you should have an icon on your desktop that looks like this. By the way, the person there you see is St. Thomas Aquinas. He is the patron saint of academics. Before we do anything with the Virtual Machine Player, we're going to install the University Edition Basic App. It's a compressed file, so it'll have to be unzipped. Find it in your download folder and click on it, and it should open up in your unzip software. Here's a picture of SAS University Edition compressed file opened in my unzipping program, which is called 7-Zip. It's about a 3.8 gig folder when it's unzipped, about 1.7 gigs when it's compressed. You want to extract it to some location on your C drive where it is useful to you. Once you've extracted the SAS University Edition, you want to also create a new folder on your C drive, and you want to name it SAS University Edition all together as one word, like I've got it displayed up here at the top of this slide. Within that SAS University Edition folder, you want to also create a subfolder which is called My Folders, and it's lowercase letters, and it's inside the SAS University Edition main folder. In the My Folders subfolder, you can place programs and data sets, and it doesn't matter how large they are. As you can see, I have two BRFSS data sets here. One is 1.4 gigs, the other is 1.3 gigs. SAS University Edition Online will be able to read those in without difficulty. You also see some subfolders there on that screen, one called Images, one called My Snippets, my tasks and so forth. Don't worry about those. Those will be generated once you connect to SAS University Edition. Now that we have that all squared away, we're going to take a look at how to set up the VMware player and also enable shared folders within that program. So we return to the desktop and click on the virtual machine icon and start the program. This is the opening screen, and what I'd like you to notice is that over on the left-hand side where it says Home and it has the picture of a little house, you don't see anything underneath there. On the right, though, I have circled the choice that says Open a Virtual Machine. Underneath that, it says Open an existing virtual machine, which will then be added to the top of your library, meaning underneath the little house icon up there on the top left. So we're going to go to the folder to which we unzipped the SAS University Edition zip file, or we want to select the University Edition virtual machine file. It'll be the only file that shows up. So we're going to click on that choice there, Open a Virtual Machine, and go to the folder where we have our unzipped SAS University Edition software. My computer's already set up, but I will take you through the steps of how to do this. So now we want to click on Open a Virtual Machine and go to the folder that has our unzipped SAS University Edition VMware Virtual Machine software. Select it, hit Open, and we'll see that when we come back to the opening page, it's underneath the Home icon. We want to select that with the cursor, and then you see down at the bottom right it says Play Virtual Machine. Push that with your cursor and you'll start the SAS Virtual Machine software going. So we'll just let it cycle through. I've kind of edited it down. It's a lot slower than you see here. Nevertheless, it's getting itself started. It'll only take a few more seconds, and now we see the end screen for the VMware Virtual Player software. The last step in preparing the virtual machine software is to enable shared folders. When we log on to SAS University Edition, in order for it to be functional, it's going to have to be able to see your data sets and any program files that you have stored on your computer that you might want SAS to use. So we're going to point this virtual machine program to the folder on your hard drive that contains those elements. Remember, we created a file called SAS University Edition and a subfolder called My Folders. These are the folders that we will use in this step where we enable shared folders. Notice the tag at the top left that says Player. You want to put your cursor there and click on it, and you will get a drop-down menu. One of the options says Manage. It'll bring up another drop-down menu, and the last option there is Virtual Machine Settings. Click on that to open the new screen. Next, select the Options tab, and then you'll see the shared folders, and over on the right, make sure that you click Always Enabled. Below is where you get to choose the folder. You're going to choose the Add option. It opens up a wizard, and then it opens up another screen where you're allowed to browse for the folder that you want. You're looking for the SAS University Edition My Folders, and if you scroll down and find it there, you just click on it, and there it is. You select it, hit OK. Mine's already set up, so I'm just going to close all this out. But the point is, when you hit OK and return to that screen, you'll see the My Folders file in your list, and you're ready to start using the program. The virtual machine end screen gives you this address, which is the web address for SAS University Edition. You want to put that into your browser and then go to the University Edition web page. Also, the message at the bottom tells you not to close this window until you're finished using SAS Studio. So before you start SAS University Edition, you have to start the virtual machine, and it has to keep running the entire time you're using SAS University Edition. At long last, we're ready to do some SAS. So plug that address into your browser, and it'll take you to the SAS University Edition page. Looks something like this, and there's a button that says Start SAS Studio Now. You'll also see there it's going to give you some information about updates and whatnot. You click on this and it gets SAS Studio started. I've cut it down. It's a little bit slower in real life than it is here. But like it says on the screen there, it's free, so what do you want? You're looking right now at the SAS Studio screen, and if you're familiar with SAS, a lot of the controls will look familiar. I just pushed the Running Man icon, and I'm running a little proc contents program that I'd written earlier. If you look over to the left, all of my data files and programs are there. There's the output. Beautiful proc contents output. You can scroll through it. The whole thing is there. SAS Studio, from my experience, will do everything that regular SAS on my laptop will do. Now you're looking at the log file. Once again, that's a common and familiar feature to regular SAS users. It might be rather difficult to see, but up there are little buttons for printing the output, for exporting it to an RTF file, for exporting it to a PDF. There are all kinds of great options there on SAS Studio. One last thing, let's go over the SAS program syntax for use with SAS University Edition. Just as you might expect to do with most SAS programs, you're going to have to start with a live name statement. I've chosen the name class, and then notice that you point it towards the My Folders folder, and you don't need a drive. So in an ordinary SAS program, you might have C:\\. You don't have that here, and also you have /, not backslashes. Our data statement, we're going to create a temporary file inside the work library. It's going to be a reflection of whatever our data set is. I've chosen to name mine BRFSS data because I'm going to use a BRFSS data set. We have to tell SAS what to make our temporary data set a copy of. And so the third line says set class. Class is the live name, the short for folders / my folders, .brfss 2010. Now, BRFSS 2010 is the name of the SAS data set that I have on my computer in the My Folders file. You should be able to see it to the left in the list of folders when you're working in SAS Studio. Also, if you were going to modify the data set in any way using if, then, else statements, you would do it after this set statement and before the proc statements. Next, of course, are the proc statements, any proc statements that you might want. Proc statements, of course, are what are used to analyze the data, so any statistical analysis or questions that you have are going to be dealt with using proc statements. This is the same program I showed running a minute ago, and all I had in there then and all I have now is a proc content statement, but you can put any proc statement you want in here. Okay, we're going to end the program with a run semicolon statement, just like we would any other SAS program. And also notice that our code lines all end in semicolons here. Once you get the program set up the way you want, hit the Running Man icon and see if it works or not. Okay, hopefully you have SAS University Edition all set up now, and that should get you started in doing some data analysis. Thanks for watching this video.